Let's bring in our guest for the day, Assistant to ICC Counsel, Attorney Cristina Conti. Attorney Conti, thank you for joining us again. I understand you just came from the studio. Thank you for rushing to make time for us.
Good afternoon,
yes, hello,
Attorney.
Good afternoon.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Who
Ano
first?
bang kwan? Ano bang...
Ma'am, ikaw na.
Hindi, ikaw na.
Sige,
Pwede-
ma'am,
sige, ako na.
Itong announcement ni Boying Remulla caught everybody by surprise. I'm wondering if you expected this as well. Itong bigla may cooperation with the ICC for the witnesses.
Surprise.
Well, no, it was also a pleasant surprise for us that they're offering this kind of support or this kind of cooperation with the court, essentially. What we knew at one point was that the Department of Justice was trying to investigate also parallelly the crimes against humanity as ordered by or as recommended by the House of Representatives Quadcom. So alam namin na nag-iimbestiga sila, alam namin na actually nag-reach out sila sa amin. Pero yung ganitong klaseng support, this is in a way unprecedented because this really would be a responsibility of a member state. Kaya i-welcome namin itong tulong na to pero wala pa kami ngayon na coordination as to this offer.
Pero, Attorney, medyo nag-backpedal ng kaunti si Secretary Boying doon sa sinabi niya the other day na talagang tutulungan nilang financially. Ngayon ay binawi niya yun. Ang sabi na lang niya, yung witness protection ang
Security,
tulong. No? Pero surprising ba talaga yan after nung pagtulong natin na i-facilitate yung arrest ni Digong sa Interpol at dalhin sa The Hague at after nung mga speeches nila Secretary Remulla at Secretary John Vic sa Senate na sinabi nila na talagang kinakailangan talaga itong ICC dahil yung mga ebidensya rito ay non-existent. Yung mga binaril sa ulo, ang nakalagay ay namatay sa cardiac arrest, etc. etc. Ibig sabihin, sineset na nila yung template para dito sa statement niya the other day and today. No? Parang since the arrest, nagbago na qualitatively yung kanilang attitude towards the ICC.
Well, yes, of course, there's that. But you cannot really trust or cannot rely on their statements na, kasi ganito na. We were working within the context or premise that they were, and I mean, in the Philippines, we're building a case locally. So talagang kumbaga kahit paano magkakaroon ng proteksyon. Yung issue lang namin na parang paano ba itong support na ito, there's going to be complications. Kaya kahit sa ngayon na parang may openness, we need to understand that in the ICC, the protection that they provide is, well, very different. And if you ask the victims, they would rather be protected by the ICC or parang in some ways under the control of the ICC yung protection rather than, well, by the Philippine government, which in the first place allowed them to be victimized. Remember that I don't know how the victim protection program of the DOJ will look like, but if it is under the quote-unquote regular witnesses protection program under DOJ, there's not much trust on that on the part of the victims. Kasi ito din yung mga opisyales na nagsangkalan sa kanila noon, nagsabing, okay lang yan, nanlaban naman kaya hindi na tayo magsasampa ng kaso. On the other hand, if they're going to provide, say, PNP personnel for security, so we don't know kasi the parameters. PNP, very questionable because these are the very same people who committed the crimes before. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but certainly the ICC will be depending on member states to provide protection.
Pero,
The commitment of the Philippine government lang has to really be qualified so stringently so that there will be no stone left unturned, kumbaga.
following your inputs, Attorney, paano nyo ina-navigate itong medyo complicated sitwasyon na ito? Dahil for a long time, mini-maintain nyo yung inyong independence from the government. Ngayon, may offer yung government ng witness protection, etc. So, yung independence na yan may be affected dahil dito sa openness ng gobyerno na tumulong. Paano nyo ina-navigate yan? Tatanggapin nyo ba yung tulong na yan? Or sabi nyo nga kanina, ang hirap i-take at face value yung kanilang sinasabi. Dahil siyempre, kasama dun sa mga naging problema, halimbawa yung gumawa ng tokhang ay nasa gobyerno pa. No? At hindi nakakagulat na perhaps some of them ay nandun pa nagtatago sa Department of Justice or halimbawa sa Philippine National Police. Kaya how do you do that? How do you maintain your independence and at the same time welcome this openness to help galing sa gobyerno?
Attorney, idikit ko rin kay Ronald kasi it's a related question eh. Kasi what if, sana naman hindi no, pero what if tumagal ng mahigit 3 taon ito sa ICC at magbago administrasyon habang gumagalaw pa yung kaso, then that complicates everything. Diba? Because your witnesses would be under the protection of the state.
Na nagbago yung
diba?
leadership.
So, may mga ganong tanong. Of course, we're hoping na hindi naman ganun katagal. But what if eh?
Oh, it's going to be that long.
So, longer. Ako,
again, we need to understand muna what the need is for protection. Titingnan namin kung kailangan ba yung intervention ng government. Because, as you've mentioned, as it would appear, it is not just quote-unquote government that's coming up to us, and that's clear. There's going to be, kumbaga, an issue of allegiances. It's not government that's approaching essentially. It's the Marcos administration that's approaching us. And what if it's a different administration? Malinaw yon. In a perfect world, it's just government, simply put. Kumbaga, walang kulay yan. It's government helping its people. And that is, in a perfect world, what the ICC had intended. That the local or the member state, that the local police, local authorities will be able to assist the victims. So, yes, we will approach this cautiously. And I'll put in an example na, kumbaga, open naman kami, pero hindi rin. During the Quadcom hearings, security was a concern. But the Quadcom, the House of Representatives, were offering to mobilize PNP to support the victims. And of course, we had to caution them and explain to them, ma'am, hindi papayag yung mga biktima na susundan yan hanggang bahay. Naintindihan nyo ba? So, I think we came to a compromise that the staff of the House of Representatives will, quote-unquote, escort us to the gate of the HOR. Pero hindi na hanggang bahay. Kumbaga, open naman, pero may hangganan. So, I'm looking at possible tactical arrangements. For example, just making sure that the airport is well secured if some victims leave. You know, we're not, kumbaga, hindi naman kami, ayaw naman namin na ayaw talaga entirely yung government. Government has to work for its people and we will support it when it does. So, maybe we can explore some tactical issues. Pero, again, everything, there's nothing on paper yet. Ayaw namin matulad sa nangyari sa defense at saka sa prosecution na sabi ng prosecution ganito. Tapos sabi ng, di ba, yung nag-anuhan sila na parang nag-bluff. Ayaw namin gano'n na wala pa namang final, wala pa namang areglado, nag-agree na. So hanggang ngayon, open, but we need to thresh out the details.
Si SOJ Remulla also said, Attorney Conti, that they're looking at 3 to 4 witnesses that will go under the witness protection program. Do we know? I mean, because of course there are some witnesses that are out of the country already. Do you know if these pertain to just witnesses that are here, still in the Philippines?
Well, I would think so. One, there are some witnesses, yes, that are still here in the Philippines. We just would caution na let's not speculate too much kung sino ba itong mga witnesses nito for their protection as well. But obviously, from what Remulla said, if they're going to secure them, then obviously they should be within the authority of the DOJ. So nandito yan sa Pilipinas. Or it could also mean that they will assist in the perhaps processing of documents for Filipinos already abroad. So depende yan at again on the part of the victims, technically bulag kami dyan in a sense kasi prosecution ang bahala sa witnesses. We cooperate on some points, but it's the prosecution really which has to look out for the witnesses.
And then one of the other stark contradictory things that SOJ Remulla said today was we recognize the International Tribunal, which is, of course, a complete flip-flop from what they used to say as far back, as recently, in fact, as last year when they would insist that ICC does not have jurisdiction. Tapos ngayon, today, we have a soundbite of him saying kinikilala ang tribunal court ng ICC. And then he also said gustong tulungan ng ibang pamilya pero mahirap mag-case build-up dahil lahat ng ebidensya burado. So, on the other hand, so there's one. But on the other hand, the fact that President Duterte is now detained, for them to get to that point, they said they have sufficient evidence and reasonable grounds to believe that he committed crimes against humanity. Parang there's a bit of a chasm there for me. Help me reconcile those two things. Do they have reasonable grounds? Do they have sufficient evidence at this point to believe so? And secondly, how much more of a case build-up do they need to do in order to get to where they want to go? Yung prosecutors, I mean.
Well, I need to clarify this, that at the same time that there's a case against Duterte, the investigation is still ongoing. Kaiba to kasi sa Pilipinas kapag may warrant of arrest na or nagsisimula na sa korte, parang tapos na ang lahat. Naimbestigahan na yan. The investigation is ongoing, which is why the prosecution can still continue to collect evidence, if not against Duterte per se, to be used in his case, but perhaps against other co-perpetrators. And so let's not lose sight of the fact that there could be additional perpetrators and therefore additional cases in relation to the Philippine situation. Tapos, ang itsura niyan, pwedeng maging tatlo yung kaso, tatlong tao yung naka-aresto in relation to the situation in the Philippines. Tatlo, apat, ilan pa. Kaya, kumbaga, against Duterte, there is reasonable basis to believe he is one of the most responsible. Pero how about the others? So may ganun pang determination dun sa possible, iba pang akusado.
And that's why the case build-up is ongoing. But as you touched on earlier, medyo mahirap. It's hard to find hard evidence, is that right?
Yes, I think it has been hard for the Office of the Prosecutor to reach out to, well, initially to the Philippine government and obtain documents. Partly because this administration might not have any idea of what happened before. I mean, might not have an idea of, saan ba namin nahanapin yan? May ganyan ba talaga? And especially if the theory is there is a parang parallel structure na may PNP, yes, pero sa totoo yung instructions, hindi through memorandum, hindi through circular, kundi through parang bulungan, pass on from the DDS, quote-unquote, the death squad. Kaya medyo palagi ko nangangapa din yung ICC on that front. And but suffice to say na meron silang maraming dokumento. Maraming nag-submit sa kanila ng dokumento. And if I recall correctly, there's about 26,000 pages of documents in their repository. Ang tawag nila doon parang, tambak nyo lahat dyan ng na-receive nating information. Parang nangangalahati na sila dun sa nabasa na process na. Pero yung kalahati pa, di pa nila napaprocess. And I would imagine they're still continuing to accept information. Kaya, it might not have been, kumbaga, hindi kayang i-provide ng Philippine government, or on the other hand, hindi lang maklaro kung paano ba yung kukunin. For example, who has to maintain the list or the names of those killed in the war on drugs? So unlike in other countries, maybe they have a system for tracking that, and their police force, kumbaga, would be assiduous in keeping the list. Sa atin wala. In fact, nag-iba-iba pa yung mga numbers, di ba? At the very end, the PNP, DITM, so si Matthew Bakay, submitted, this is in tabular form, a tally of 7,640 persons dead in police operations. Pero sabi namin, asan po yung mga pangalan? Asan po yung parang paglilinaw nito? And from what I understand, from what I felt from their answers, it might have come from reports from the regions na number lang. Tapos nagtali na lang yung DIDM sa dulo. Pero there are no names to this. There's no central repository. There's no, di ba, walang online systematic or systematized program ang PNP. Pag magsasubmit ka nga dyan ng police report, written. Isusulat mo isa-isa, di ba? Hindi yung nakatype. Kaya walang database ang PNP. Which is why on the part of the ICC, I would guess, paano namin nahanapin itong 7,640 na dead in police operations? Some parts they can get from the victims because we have provided information. Pero kumbaga, there's just no system in the Philippines, so the ICC has to create that for us.
Pero attorney, di ba, in spite of those problems, in spite of those almost criminal negligence ng ating kapulisan at ng ating gobyerno, especially nung panahon ng Duterte presidency, ay kaya tumagal yung proseso bago nag-issue ng international warrant. Kaya tumagal yung preliminary examination at preliminary investigation ay talagang pinilit nila na may sapat silang ebidensya in spite of all those limits na bago sila mag-issue ng international warrant ay medyo solid yung kanilang ebidensya, yung kanilang mga testigo para mataas yung percentage ng conviction. So, kumbaga hindi siya haw-shaw na nag-issue lang sila ng international warrant. Medyo solid na rin yung kanilang naipon galing sa inyo, galing sa ibang grupo, galing sa sarili nilang motopropyo na investigasyon. Kaya, kumbaga ay yung possibility na ito ay talagang makonvict ay hindi ganoon kaliit. Parang dito sa usapin ng interim release, hindi na yan bago, pinaghandaan na yan. Di ba? Yung pag-reject ng interim release ng prosecution dahil alam nila na hihingiin yan nung defense. No? Kaya para lang sa mga mamamayan natin, baka isipin nila, teka, parang ang hirap nitong kasong ito dahil marami pang mga ebidensya na hindi nakukuha.
Well, yeah, I would agree that in any case, actually, maski sa amin, hindi ka papasok sa korte o hindi ka papasok sa trial nang hindi ayos at hindi conviction ang target mo. Hindi pwedeng, sige, try natin, baka. No. They're trial ready and up to the very end, they have made sure that they secured the necessary evidence. It's just that kumbaga hindi pa buo yung buong picture. Kumbaga ano ba talaga? Pero may sapat sila kay Duterte. Actually sabi ko nga mag-sift through lang sila ng PCO, Presidential Communications Office, statements by Duterte have been helpful and instrumental in the submissions of the pretrial chamber. Of the prosecution. Tingnan nyo nga ngayon, no? Dito sa interim release naman, chock full, ang daming mga statements of Duterte na binabalik ng prosecutor at meron siyang reference. Diba sa ganito? I think, kumbaga, what the ICC has made, quote-unquote, for us is a database, is a system where you can, kumbaga, ask intelligent questions like, what are the statements of Duterte regarding this? You know? So, kumbaga, something smart enough na system that you can, kumbaga, ask or parang you can draw from fields based on particular queries. Hindi yung you will rely, tayo ngayon, I would rely on institutional memory na parang, kailan niya nga ba sinabi, naalala ko yon, and then you Google it. Paano kung mawawala yung mga website, paano mawawala yung mga repository niya. Yung ICC, meticuloso dyan. Ida-download nila yan, i-verify nila yan. Pero on the part of interim release, we're also worried about that kasi while they are against it as it seems now, we are worried about the portion where they talk about initial talks with the defense. Na inamin naman nila, nag-uusap kami dati, pero gusto namin sa isang particular na bansa. And in the pleading, they also say, well, if they file another, and this interim release request is rejected, if they file another request in compliance with the conditions of the prosecutor, parang ang duda ko, parang mauulit na naman, baka i-consider na naman ng prosecutor. They reserve the right to comment daw. So, as of now, the prosecutor is not on principle kumbaga, does not reject interim release. So we're a little bit worried about that. Although when you read the document, I have no other observation or no other conclusion except that he should not be allowed interim release because he does not meet the criteria or the standards.
In short, it sounds like the defense strategy is to keep filing motions.
It could be. It could be.
You know, hoping that one of them could slip through.
May mag-shoot, ganyan.
Shotgun.
A shotgun approach. I actually first heard that term from Marites Vitug, a fellow journalist.
Attorney,
Pero parang,
bakit yung prosecution mukhang open doon sa release? I mean, that's what I'm getting from you now, and that's also what I got yesterday when I was reading to the writings. Parang just because they disagreed on the final country
to host him,
doon nagkatalo. But otherwise, parang they were good to go.
Baka tactics
Well,
siya.
yeah. Here's the thing. In the ICC and in international tribunals, syempre, international standards of human rights yan. Interim release is actually a matter of right. And you do not detain a person unless, and then there are grounds. So for them, presumption of innocence, you are innocent until proven guilty. So that applies to Duterte. But, so ito yung importante, yung but. There are grounds and parang tatlo yun generally. First, ikukulong ka para siguradong sisipot ka sa kaso. Pangalawa, ikukulong ka or issuean ka ng warrant of arrest as in the case of Duterte kung mukhang i-obstruct mo o haharangan ang kaso or proceedings or yung mga participants nito. And pangatlo, kung sakali, mukhang gagawa ka pa ng dagdag na krimen. So, show up in court, obstruct or endanger, and then commit further crimes. And if you notice, Duterte assured us in his submission in the interim release request, di ba? Yun yung hinihit niya. Hindi ako flight risk, hindi ako tatakas, hindi ako gagawa ng krimen, etc. Because essentially, these are what the ICC has previously ruled as basis not to allow interim release. Pero from what I see it, yun nga, the prosecution has enough basis to say no to interim release on principle. But I guess it has to show that still, kumbaga, makatao pa rin dapat yung pakikitungo.
But although interestingly, we note that no persons charged with crimes against humanity has yet been granted interim release, as far as we know, in the history of ICC. But that is all the time we have for today. Unfortunately, we'll pick up this conversation with you another time. Thank you for joining StoryCon today, Assistant to ICC Counsel, Attorney Cristina Conti. Thank you, ma'am.
Salamat,
Thank you, ma'am.
attorney.
Thank you.